The Curse of King Tut, the tomb that terrified the world. Imagine discovering a sealed tomb buried beneath the Egyptian desert for more than 3,000 years. A doorway untouched by sunlight, a staircase hidden beneath sand, rooms filled with gold, weapons, statues, jewelry, and treasures from an ancient world. And at the center of it all, the preserved body of a dead king. For archaeologists, it was the discovery of a lifetime. But almost immediately after the tomb was opened, people started dying. A wealthy nobleman suddenly dies from a bizarre infection. A famous visitor collapses from pneumonia. An archaeologist leaves behind a terrifying final message before taking his own life. Another man connected to the excavation is mysteriously strangled in London. And before long, newspapers around the world began asking one question: did they unleash a curse? Today we're talking about one of the most famous mysteries in modern history, the Curse of King Tutankhamun. A story involving ancient Egypt, obsession, death, superstition, science, media hysteria, and humanity's strange inability to leave the dead alone. What exactly is a pharaoh? Before we even get into the curse itself, we need to understand something. A lot of people think pharaoh is a name. It's not. Pharaoh was actually a title. The rulers of ancient Egypt weren't just kings politically. They were also deeply tied to religion and viewed almost like divine figures. The word itself comes from the Egyptian term pharaoh, meaning great house or palace. And honestly, ancient Egypt has always fascinated people because it feels both advanced and mysterious at the same time. Massive pyramids, complex rituals, mummification, astronomy, gods, curses. Even thousands of years later, it still feels strangely modern and ancient at once. And maybe that's why stories connected to Egypt continue to feel so haunting. Because these weren't just tombs. To the Egyptians, tombs were sacred transitions into eternity. Disturbing them wasn't just theft, it was spiritual violation. King Tutankhamun was born around 1343 BC in ancient Egypt. And despite becoming one of the most famous pharaohs in history, he actually wasn't very important during his lifetime. Which is kind of ironic. Some people become legendary because of what they achieved while alive. King Tut became legendary because of what happened after he died. Tutankhamun was the son of Pharaoh Akhenaten. And Akhenaten was controversial, very controversial. For centuries, ancient Egyptians worshipped many gods. But Akhenaten attempted something radical. He pushed Egypt toward worshipping a single god, Aten, the sun disk. Now, imagine trying to completely change an entire civilization's religious system overnight. Priests hated it. Citizens hated it. Traditionalists viewed it as betrayal. Human beings are extremely emotionally attached to tradition, especially religious tradition. That's why sudden cultural change often creates fear and anger. Akhenaten essentially challenged the spiritual identity of Egypt itself. And because of that, he made enemies everywhere. Even Tutankhamun's original name reflected this religious shift. He was first named Tutankhaten, meaning living image of Aten. But after Akhenaten's downfall and death, the political climate changed rapidly. Egypt wanted to return to the old gods. And young Tutankhaten understood something important. If he wanted people to accept him, he needed to separate himself from his father, so he changed his name. Tutankhamun, living image of Amun. It was basically the ancient Egyptian version of saying, I am not my father. Tutankhamun became pharaoh incredibly young, only around 9 years old, which honestly sounds impossible by modern standards. Imagine a child ruling one of the world's most powerful civilizations. Of course, advisors largely controlled the kingdom behind the scenes. Two important figures during his reign were Ai and Horemheb. And like many royal families in ancient Egypt, Tutankhamun married within his bloodline. He married his half-sister Ankhesenpatan. Now today, that sounds deeply disturbing. But ancient Egyptian royalty believed divine bloodlines had to remain pure. Their gods themselves were believed to marry within families. And this is something people often forget when discussing ancient civilizations. We instinctively judge the past using modern morality. But cultures thousands of years ago operated under completely different belief systems. To them, these practices weren't shocking. They were sacred. But Tutankhamun's reign didn't last long. At only around 19 years old, he died suddenly. And even now, historians still debate what exactly killed him. Disease, genetic complications, injury, murder? Nobody knows for certain. What we do know is that his death happened quickly, and his burial appeared unusually rushed for a pharaoh. He was buried in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, mummified according to tradition, and surrounded with thousands of objects meant to guide him into the afterlife. Weapons, jewelry, gold, amulets, furniture, statues, food. The Egyptians believed death wasn't the end. It was a journey, and the dead king would need these objects forever. Fast forward thousands of years later, an English aristocrat named Lord Carnarvon became fascinated with ancient Egypt. Like many wealthy Europeans of the early 1900s, he was obsessed with archaeology. And honestly, there's something psychologically interesting about that obsession. People are naturally drawn towards civilizations that feel mysterious and unfinished. Ancient Egypt almost feels like a puzzle humanity never fully solved. Lord Carnarvon eventually partnered with a British archaeologist named Howard Carter. Now, Howard Carter wasn't originally famous as a traditional archaeologist. He started as an artist and illustrator, which honestly may have helped him enormously, because people who are trained to observe details visually often notice things others miss. Carter moved to Egypt and dedicated years of his life to excavation work. Then, in 1914, Lord Carnarvon agreed to fund a major search in the Valley of the Kings. But almost immediately, World War I interrupted everything. Excavations stopped, years passed. Finally, in 1918, after the war ended, the search resumed. And for years, they found almost nothing. Imagine the frustration. Endless digging, dust, heat, money disappearing. By 1922, Lord Carnarvon reportedly wanted to quit entirely. But Howard Carter begged him for one final season. Just one more chance. History is full of moments where people almost gave up right before discovering something extraordinary. Then came November 4th, 1922. Workers uncovered something beneath the sand. A staircase, hidden, buried, leading underground. Imagine the feeling in that moment. Years of failure suddenly replaced by possibility. The team continued digging non-stop. By the next day, 12 stone steps had been fully uncovered, leading to a sealed doorway. Howard Carter immediately sent a telegram to Lord Carnarvon. And honestly, Carter's famous message feels almost cinematic. At last have made wonderful discovery in Valley. 3 weeks later, Lord Carnarvon arrived in Egypt with his daughter, Lady Evelyn Herbert. Together, they entered the tomb. And what they discovered changed archaeology forever. The tomb contained 4 major chambers: the antechamber, the annex, the burial chamber, and the treasury. Inside were more than 5,000 artifacts: chariots, golden statues, weapons, jewelry, furniture, royal staffs. Imagine standing inside a room untouched for over 3 millennia. Dust frozen in time, objects last seen by ancient priests, and then they discovered the sarcophagus. A coffin shaped like the human body. 3 layers deep, the innermost layer made of gold. And inside, the preserved body of King Tutankhamun, wearing the now famous golden funerary mask. One of the most recognizable artifacts in human history. And this is where the emotional contradiction begins. Because on one hand, the discovery was invaluable for history. It revealed incredible details about ancient Egyptian life, religion, fashion, burial rituals, medicine, politics, and art. But on the other hand, it was still a grave, a human being's final resting place. And this raises an uncomfortable ethical question people still debate today. At what point does archaeology become disturbance? Then came April 5th, 1923. Only months after the tomb was opened, Lord Carnarvon died. Officially, he died from blood poisoning after a mosquito bite became infected. But almost immediately, rumours exploded. Newspapers began reporting eerie details. Some claimed the lights in Cairo mysteriously went out the moment he died. Others claimed his dogs in England began howling before collapsing dead. Now today, many of these stories can't actually be verified. But that almost doesn't matter. Because once people want to believe in a curse, every coincidence suddenly feels meaningful. And psychologically, humans are pattern-seeking creatures. We connect unrelated events constantly, especially after tragedy. That's how legends are born. After Carnarvon's death, more deaths followed. An American railroad executive named George J. Gould visited the tomb and later died from pneumonia. Aubrey Herbert, Carnarvon's half-brother, died from complications related to dental surgery. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, who x-rayed Tutankhamun's mummy, died from illness. Then came one of the creepiest stories. Archaeologist Hugh Evelyn White reportedly took his own life after helping with excavations. And according to legend, he left behind a message saying, "I have succumbed to a curse." Then, in 1926, Egyptologist Aaron Ember died in a house fire while working on a manuscript titled The Egyptian Book of the Dead. And later, Richard Bethel, Howard Carter's secretary, was found dead in London under mysterious circumstances, strangled, unsolved. At this point, the media went completely wild, because now the story had everything people love. Ancient kings, gold, death, mystery, possible supernatural revenge. This is where the curse transformed from historical rumor into global mythology. Then there's one detail that made local Egyptian workers especially terrified. Inside the tomb were statues featuring cobra symbols. Cobras were associated with royal protection, guardianship, divine authority. Soon after the excavation began, Howard Carter's pet canary was reportedly eaten by a cobra. And to local workers, this felt like a warning. The pharaoh was angry. Now, scientifically, a snake eating a bird in Egypt is not exactly impossible. But psychologically, context changes everything. A coincidence inside an emotionally charged environment suddenly becomes prophecy. And once fear enters a group, fear spreads fast. So did the curse actually exist? 3 major theories emerged. The first is the supernatural theory. That disturbing the tomb unleashed spiritual punishment from the dead pharaoh himself. Many stories claimed there was an inscription warning intruders. Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king. Now historians debate whether that exact inscription ever truly existed. But the legend spread globally. And personally, I think people do want ancient curses to exist because they make history feel alive. The second theory is scientific. Some researchers believe ancient tombs contained toxic fungi, bacteria, or pathogens trapped for centuries. Organisms like Aspergillus can cause severe respiratory illness, meaning opening sealed environments could potentially expose people to dangerous contamination. And that theory honestly sounds more realistic, especially considering how many people died from lung-related illnesses afterward. But then comes the third explanation: coincidence. A 2002 study published in the British Medical Journal examined the survival rates of people connected to the tomb. Researchers found no significant evidence that people involved died unusually early, meaning statistically, the curse may simply have been exaggerated by media sensationalism. That explanation might actually be the most believable, Because fear sells. Mystery sells. Supernatural stories spread faster than ordinary reality. Even famous writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle helped popularize the curse theory publicly. And once enough influential people repeat a story, it starts becoming accepted as truth. But here's the detail people always forget. Howard Carter himself, the man who actually discovered the tomb, lived another 16 years. He died naturally in 1939 from lymphoma. No mysterious collapse, no violent curse, no supernatural punishment, which is fascinating. Because if there truly was a curse, you'd expect the main discoverer to be its primary target. Instead, Carter lived relatively peacefully. Some people interpreted this spiritually. They believed Carter's intentions were pure, that he genuinely respected history. Others believe his survival simply weakens the curse theory entirely. I think both interpretations reveal something interesting about human psychology. People often shape facts around the story they want to believe. If someone dies unexpectedly, it supports the curse. If someone survives, it proves purity. Either way, the legend survives. So why does the curse of King Tut still fascinate people over a century later? I think it's because this story sits perfectly between science and superstition. Ancient rituals, real deaths, media hysteria, human imagination. And deep down, people are uncomfortable with the idea of disturbing the dead. Almost every culture on Earth has rules about respecting graves, because graves symbolize final peace. So when humans break into tombs searching for treasure, knowledge, or history, part of us wonders, should we have left it alone? That question may matter more than whether the curse itself was real. Because even without supernatural punishment, the story still reveals something deeply human. Our obsession with immortality, mystery, forbidden places, and maybe that's why King Tutankhamun never truly disappeared. Not because of magic, not because of curses, but because thousands of years after his death, humanity still cannot stop opening the door to his tomb over and over again in our imagination.